everyone. It's Open House Thursday on Your View. Welcome to the show. I am Murayo Afolabi Brown. As always, I have the ladies with me. Hello, Waike in the building.
Good morning, Murayo.
How you doing,
Good morning,
Waike?
ladies. I'm fine. I'm fine. I'm excited about the show of shame that America performed yesterday.
So excited.
That's exciting.
Why?
I mean,
Why?
it's normally African countries doing all that, but now they call themselves the number one. They can call most civilized. They can call democracy.
Nobody has the monopoly.
Anyway, we'll take it in the papers. It's all over the papers.
So it excited me. I mean,
Like madness is not uniquely
I have
African.
loved. I have to tell you, I have loved Donald Trump's presidency.
Really?
Yes, because
That's shown that
it's so disgraceful. I
That's
love it.
That's shown the vulnerability of the human mind. How are you doing, Mariam?
I'm doing fine. I have a shout out too, actually, to make a lady called Chinyere Arehia Chichi is what she's called. It's her birthday today. She's in Australia, so I think it's still today or yesterday in Australia. It's yesterday now. Okay, so it was her birthday yesterday, and she says her husband's birthday is also on Sunday. And she wants us to give him a shout out. She says he's such a good man and a good father. They are both huge fans of the show, and he loves. And she really would like for him to hear this. She said she's going to make sure he's sitting and listening. So happy birthday! His name is Kelvin Arehia.
Happy birthday, Mr. Kelvin. God bless you. How are you doing? I've not even checked my own messages at all. God help me. How are you doing?
I'm doing amazing. I'm getting ready for some trainings I'm going to be slating for the year. I'm looking to do like 4 or 5. I don't want to do too much. 4 or 5 for the whole year. So I'm working out some of the trainings. And then I'm getting testimonies. You know, I did that training, how to start a business with 0 cash. Somebody sent me a testimony yesterday. And reading through, I just felt like, wow. You know, sometimes when you like teach and you share your experiences, it looks like you're not really making sense. But then somebody takes it, applies it, and it works. And you know, that sort of gives you joy.
Good feedback.
Yeah, that you should keep doing what you're doing. But I have a shout out quickly. So happy birthday to Ifoma Juliet. She says she's a huge fan of Your View. Happy birthday.
Thank you. Happy birthday, Ifoma. Okay. I just yesterday I said I love coffee, and suddenly this morning I got this Nigerian blend. Happy Coffee. I was like, I don't even know who this person is, but I just saw it. It looks really nice. I like the packaging.
Have you tried it? Yes.
I'm going to try it tomorrow because I didn't plan. You have to put it in the mixer and the steam comes out. The funny thing.
That main
Yeah.
You can give it to me. My partner drinks that kind of.
I'm not giving this to you, honey. Go get yours. But I'll try it tomorrow. But thank you, whoever it is. Thank you very much, Mikey. Anyways, there's a lot happening. Today we're having Princess today. Princess the comedian. Whoop, whoop. Because Nigerians have been asking ladies of your view. You've not discussed this FCMB paternity issue. Yes. And we're saving it for Princess. Thursday. We'll be keeping it in the cooler. So today we'll foresee where. But first, let's go to the front pages of the papers. Stay with us. We'll be right back.
Stay tuned. Your View will be right back.
All right. Let's start with the nation. Governor, bandits in North recruited from Mali and Sudan. Sultan's GNI attacks cooker. Bishop lashes Buhari government again. I faked my kidnap to extort my dad, suspect confesses. How COVID-19 second wave is killing people by loot CMD. Another court contradicts judgment on Eze Yamo. A picture here of United States Capitol. Pence, Pelosi evacuated as pro-Trump protesters sack U.S. Congress in session. We'll talk about the U.S. a bit later, but let's take the major headline. Go ahead.
Yes, so the Niger State Governor, Abubakar Sani Bello, has said that bandits from Mali and Sudan are infiltrating. In fact, he also said bandits not just from Mali and Sudan, but also Zamfara and Kaduna states are infiltrating Niger. And that Niger is actually a very big it has, I wanted to get the 73,000 land space, and you know, Niger can as much as feed the whole of the country. But now the bandits have,
Niger.
moved from kidnapping and killings to going to the farms to burning out the farmlands, killing animals. So that it's like there's a ploy or a plan to, destroy our ability to provide food for the country. And he's asking that the federal government does something about it. They actually need more manpower because of the land space that they have in Niger State.
Right.
They need more officers to take charge of that place.
Right.
Let me just add
Okay, I wanted to take. I want to talk about that.
Yeah, let me just add to that. He was saying that he's never been in support of negotiations with bandits. So this is something that we know that some of the states are doing. But he said that he has sat in meetings with these bandits and you can tell that they are not honest. They would give up their arms for almost, and ask for nothing in return. And before you know it, they'll come back. They do not keep to the promises or the commitments that they make. So he's asking that, they get more help from the federal government so that they can just kill this thing.
Yeah, I wanted to take the Dr. Bode, Chris Bode.
Yes, the CMD.
Yes,
Luth.
the CMD of Luth. He has warned us that the virus has mutated. You can catch it quicker and die quicker. So that everybody should be very careful. We should adhere to the masks. Social distancing, and he says it's ravaging.
Yeah.
The land.
And in addition to what he said, we have seen an upsurge in the number of people who keep treating malaria.
Yes.
Instead of going for COVID tests. Many such start with the steam inhalation and then try to get remedies, but that they should always come to the hospital. So I think many of us have gotten some sense now. That's why I was telling me this morning. When I hear somebody wearing the face mask this morning, say, Mariel, you have sense now. I've always had sense, it's just that I just maybe.
Let me just take one last, because it's the only place that's there. I faked my kidnap to extract money from dad. So this classroom teacher, a 24-year-old Medinat Ibrahim, had faked her kidnap. And she said it was her way of getting money from her father. Since her mother died, her stepmother has maltreated her. She hadn't gotten any fatherly support from her father. And so she and two other accomplices, came up with this scheme to say she was kidnapped so the ransom could be paid. Unfortunately for her and her accomplices, they have been caught and they will be remanded. So,
very quickly to the punch. Federal government needs over 2.4 trillion naira to vaccinate 165 million Nigerians. Trump supporters invade capitals. Security officers draw guns. 7 Deeper Life High School student suspect already arraigned, says police. Ondo couple, farmer kidnapped. Abductors demand 10 million naira. Cocoa House lift crashes during installation and kills one. Power drum NCDC officer attacks journalist to search punchman's camera. Private public institutions providing NINs in villages, says FG. Sultan's GNI tackles Kuka, says Christmas sermon targets Islam. And customs revenue rises, generates 1.56 trillion in 1 year. Should we talk about the US now, YK?
I was going to talk about the NCDC.
Yes, go ahead. Take the molestation. Go ahead.
Guy attacked he was at the NIM office where crowds had gathered and he was taking pictures, and the NCDC guy attacked. There were about 3 journalists that he attacked. Wow. The Sun and other papers, and
they didn't want him taking pictures of the crowd.
And they broke his camera. They broke one of the journalists' cameras, and when they called the NCDC
do you not want them to take pictures of what's happening? And let us know exactly what is happening.
And that one said, the spokesperson said, he doesn't know because he's sick.
So the molestation, the Deeper Life molestation scandal, which we've talked about. Now, the Akwa Ibom State Police Command has said they've arraigned 7 people, 7 suspects connected to the case. But the magistrate court, they were supposed to take 2 of the students because they are minors to the juvenile court, then 5 adults to the magistrate court. But the courts are saying that they have not told us what those persons have been charged for. The court's proceeding was not able to hold because the magistrate was absent, and the court is saying we don't have there's no synergy between the police. The police, they've not given us any detail on what we are going to arraign these people for. So,
and Ondo couple, farmer, were kidnapped. This couple were traveling the Ondo Owo Expressway, and they had a car problem, and they had gotten down from the car. They had their 3 children in the car, gotten down from their car, trying to fix it. These bandits come in from the bushes, pick them up and take them away, leaving their 3 very young children in the car. Thankfully, you know, the police, the children are with the police right now, and they are demanding for a ransom. They first asked for 5 million naira ransom, which was immediately provided. And I guess when they saw how quickly they got the 5 million, they now insisted on making it 10. And even no matter what the appeals that have been made, they have refused. Another farmer in Ondo State also has been abducted. The police are Motekun, they're on their trail. They say a particular person, Mohammed, was found in the bushes and has been arrested, I guess, as a suspect.
All right. So the vaccines,
really getting
everywhere.
Only those, concerning the vaccines, the government has said they're going to have to, they need 2.4 trillion to vaccinate about 165 million Nigerians. And they're saying that by the end of this month, they will get receiving the 100,000 doses from Pfizer. I think it's only Pfizer, Johnson & Johnson, Oxford, and Novavax. Those are the only companies so far that are producing. And they're hoping that they can get about 42 million doses of the vaccines that will cover only 20% of our Nigerian citizens very soon. And they're waiting for those vaccines.
Where are we getting the money?
Yeah,
for
but they're
these
talking about
vaccines?
money.
2.7 trillion.
Where are we
Yes.
getting it from? Are we borrowing to buy the
Well, they
vaccines?
didn't- the
Do we
people
need the
didn't tell us.
vaccines right now? Are people really dying the way they are dying in?
People are dying.
No. Are you see? Like
The rate
UK
at
has
which
exactly 1,000 deaths daily. Are we having 1,000 deaths daily? Is it that
You
serious?
want us to wait
Are we not
till 1,000
recovering?
deaths?
Are we not recovering the recovery speed? Do we have the funds right now to buy the vaccines? We need to
They're looking
have our
for-
Yeah,
priorities.
for
but that is
free-
what
they're looking for free
but that is what
vaccines.
PTF is saying to you, that we do not have enough. Do you understand? The free 43,000 we're going to get is just 20% of the population that it would be able to cover. So what they're asking is that make sure you follow the guidelines.
Exactly.
Because
So
that
we
is-
need to invest in that right now. I'm just
Yeah.
asking him our priorities.
Okay,
What
so
are our
we'll-
priorities?
We'll still discuss
our
COVID because
vaccines are
COVID
priority.
is here.
Vaccine
and
is a priority.
The Daily Sun, Fury, outrage continue as Labour prepares for strike over electricity tariff hike. Urges to borrow on claimed dividends, dormant account balances. Igbo will resist any attempt to destroy Ohaneze, says Ohakim, and China blocks WHO team from entering country to study coronavirus origin. So they want to borrow our dividends. Those of us that have not, people like me, I have one in the bank for like 15 years. I've not gone to
that
claim my
money is
Don't
dividend.
touch it.
Eh?
Forget
They
it.
should not touch
No, they
it.
said that they are borrowing
Don't
it.
borrow.
Federal government
They
needs
Said they are
money.
doing this. So I wanted to tell you, we haven't taken the story. That that's where they want to get the money
From
the
from your
vaccine. Please, they shouldn't
So
borrow
those
that.
of us like me too, I bought shares and
you forgotten it.
have
not that I
there.
forgot it. They don't even send me anything.
Okay, so-
because I bought from me, my
Do you-
daughter, my brother.
Do you know that aside from the shares,
My
the
nephew.
dormant account, so if you have not used,
Yeah.
according to CBN guidelines, dormant account are accounts you have not used for
A long time.
over 1 year.
Yeah.
So if you don't have an account you've not used over 1 year,
Don't
that money
touch-
goes to the federal government.
don't
So
touch
But
instead
they-
of taking people's
But
money,
they are saying it's a loan.
Don't
It's not-
touch it,
They will
don't
give it
touch
back.
it.
If you ask for your money, you get it back.
no, that's if
touch
you
it.
know
I'm
that you
money
have
to-
money. There are
I'm money
families.
everywhere.
There are
Now.
families who they've lost people who have money there, and they're not aware that there's money there. Why don't you?
So
link
while
them
you
up
are
and-
not aware, we will use it to buy
use it.
vaccine. In the
you
meantime,
pay it
when
back?
you get out, of course we'll pay it back. The
Oh,
government
but
is
we
not paying
know
it back.
that Nigerian government is not
Doesn't pay back.
credit worthy.
Thank
And
you.
that's the sort of people you give loans
Anyway,
Thank you.
my only I could have money in one of the banks. I'll just go and call the bank. But please,
Please
Oga,
don't give my money to anybody.
let's not transfer my money first. But that's not good, though. We should be able
Yeah,
to. We should be patriotic enough to allow the bank, the government, to use this money.
Which kind of-
Let them
which kind of-
try
That's
to reach out
patriotism.
to.
No.
it's not done that way.
No, it's not.
You
It's
should
not.
be patriotic enough to allow
Why
the
kid?
government borrow your money.
If you
Allow
have-
the government borrow your money if you need it.
YK. They are
I think you should put
Let's
up
move
all
on.
these cars and houses that they have.
They can borrow. They can
Exactly.
and they can
Why
make
don't
money
they
from
go and
that.
take the senators' unclaimed
Exactly.
dividends?
The empty housing
What's around?
schemes lying fallow there, nobody is able to buy it. They should
Our leaders
auction
should
all
be very
those out.
patriotic. They should give.
Let's move on.
their
We have
assets.
to wrap up, unfortunately. Let me
Are we
see.
done?
See me
We are done, unfortunately.
I struggle.
But please,
please don't
I
touch our
think
monies.
it's very patriotic for Nigerians to release the funds that you're not using at all to the federal government to buy vaccines for
It's
Nigerians.
not like
Yeah,
they're
we are
not
not
using the
using.
funds, so you just
It's
don't
how
know
to
the
access
funds
the
that
funds.
there.
That is my own
You are
problem.
building your funds so that in your old age you can get it.
Anyway.
And then when the old age comes, you
They are-
cannot get it because government has
Anyway,
not
they
paid.
can borrow mine. I'll
Okay.
I'll give up mine to the
No, I
government.
thought you said you are talking with
With two sides of our mouth.
You said you are running to the
I
bank
had
now.
a change of heart. I'm a
Okay.
patriotic Nigerian. So
Well
that
done.
money that is in the bank, I don't even know how much it is. In 15 years, I opened it something.
What percentage of
I
the
don't
money
even
do you think
remember.
that they need?
But federal
in
government,
form
I
of
give you
the-
my own. Please use it to buy
I have
vaccine.
one I opened for my daughter many years ago.
To buy vaccine.
Morayo.
We have to
And
run
it
this.
went up to 9,000
Very soon
naira.
you get alert saying debits.
No. I don't know if the account says. It's been a long time. I don't even have an idea. Clue. I bought shares. We have to go, YK.
If I go to the bank, will they answer me?
You can look for a stock broker.
Their savings account.
Okay, let's go on a break. It's Thursday. You know, we are very, very unruly on Thursdays like this. We just act like Nigerians. Mondays we act like
I beg your pardon. You say Nigerians are unruly?
We are
Americans,
unruly.
what did they do? We didn't even come at that story.
You cannot even call us unruly again. How did we miss that
You've
story?
lost that right.
Somebody made a funny post.
On that note,
he said, you know how we always say, Sena climbs. So
Sena climbs.
Or insana. Insane climbs.
They have sacked the U.S. Congress. Imagine that. Did you see the polls that these guys are holding rods?
We saw everything.
Pushed through the Capitol. Oh my goodness.
4 people.
I said this is like a movie.
4 people.
Unfortunately, we have to
died.
run. We have to run. Maybe we won't make it to talk about the
We
princess.
should
Stay with us. We'll be right back. It's a hot topic.
Stay tuned. Your view will be right back.
Thanks for staying with us. So, DNA. This matter of DNA has been on the lips of everyone in the last few days. In fact, 1 week or so. Everyone has been screaming paternity test up and down. They are asking, who is the true father of the child? The biological father or the person that raised the child? The issue, as you know, is partly triggered by the recently revealed scandal involving the FCMB manager, MD, and his female worker, leading to the untimely death of a man who finally realized that the children he loved and thought were his were not his.
Allegedly.
Now, this is according to the story released. We don't even know who released the story. Somebody, a friend of his family, someone released this allegation against this FCMB boss. Now, so far, after the release of this scandal, we've heard a press release from somebody saying that he's speaking on behalf of the wife, saying the children indeed are the late man's own. And we also seen that the FCMB MD has stepped aside while investigation is ongoing. So our focus really isn't going to be on this story as usual, because we try to create our own context for this. The matter, we'll pack it, although we can reference it if we want to. But the real issue is paternity. People are asking that, should we begin to initiate a law to insist on men asking the paternity of their child, especially immediately after birth, to avoid subsequent heartbreaks afterwards? So on the show today, we're having our own dear popular comedian, Damilola Adekoya, popularly known as Princess. And the reason why we brought Princess, because Princess, she's on the streets. She knows of these things. So she has warned us before. When she came on the show last, she warned us, these things are happening. We're acting as if like no visits, over Sabi, they do you. But when it now happened, say, hey, Princess mentioned this kind of thing. No? Let's call her back. Maybe she can teach us some things we don't know about life. Welcome, Princess. Good to have you on the show. So, Princess, I said, because the issue of the FCMB is still an allegation. There's an investigation ongoing. So we don't like talking about allegations until we are sure of what has happened. But this issue of paternity, in your view, what do you make of it? Is it possible that a woman can birth somebody and say and birth somebody for another person and submit the child to her husband? For me, it's almost unheard of. But it's happening now in our presence.
No, it has always happened.
Okay, so about 10 years ago, at Crack Your Ribs in London, that's Julius Agu's show, I was doing this joke, everybody was laughing. Then I said, if you're married and you're happily married, raise your hands. And everybody, yeah. So I said, leave the hands that way. If you're sure that your children are yours,
Jesus,
leave your hands that way. And then the hall went
silent.
And then after the show, people came and said,
how dare
you did the joke, everybody laughed. Which one be?
What are you?
That's 10 years ago. But you people, you just be pretending. Now, this, you can't say less later on law. Why? That means we are saying only men are the victims. I saw a write-up. And and they said at least men will not bring a wrong child home or whatever. But do you know how many people have died? Most of our parents, I'll tell you, when they found out that their husbands had children outside, it broke their marriages, it almost ended them. Then 20 years later, they found out that the child was not even their husband's.
Jesus.
No, so no, because you can't. That's I was also
Wait,
laughing.
pause, don't go too fast.
Yeah.
So it means that the man brought somebody to the house.
Yes.
So the woman that birthed that child to use it for the man
To enter, you know
to
why?
enter the
Yeah,
house.
because they know that naturally men are more gullible than women. They are stronger when it comes to strength, but you know when it comes to like putting their foot down and everything, women are better. Men will tell you, I can't take another wife, blah blah blah, I can't chase my wife away. But then he will come back and say, my family said I should collect the child and take care of the child. So you can go out and get someone pregnant, and then the person comes and you usurps your whole family. Sometimes it leads to the death of the wife, sometimes the death of the children. Because along the line, if it's somebody that is very rich, you find the family of the person outside trying to tell her you need to lay claims to what is rightfully yours. Because the woman at home has 5 girls and you have 1 boy. And then this continues until after 20 years, something happens and somebody comes and says, my dear,
that boy
I have tried. You told me this won't take more than 2 to 3 years. It's been 15 years. I want my son. And you've already destroyed family. So you can't make it compulsory. For me, if I give birth in the hospital, like I don't know what it takes to put to bed, but I know what it takes to lose a child that you've carried. I can tell you, you want to just, as the baby, we must have DNA. No, it's not compulsory. You can't make it a law. But you can ask people freely if they wish to.
The question, let me come to the ladies and your thoughts, because how does a man raise children that are not his? Don't you look for similarities? Oh, she's acting like my dad. Oh, her nose is like my mother's. There's gotta be. I'll come to you, Princess. Is it possible to have 2 children, 8 years old and maybe 6-year-old, and you can tell me they are not yours? Is it possible?
It's possible. It's possible because the mind sees what the mind wants to see. I can go with Obiajulu somewhere and say, oh, she's my sister, same mother, same. The people I'm introducing, both of us know we're not sisters. They will just suddenly see similarity. Hey, yes, I could not. No, Obiajulu, she talks like her. They will. So the mind sees what the mind wants to see. So it is possible for you to bring up children that are not yours, and you will not know. And when it comes that they're not yours, you will die of shock.
You know, there was somebody, God, I pray that woman is not watching this show. There's a woman in my church, in my former church, many years ago. She's like dark skin, like maybe you, but her children are like so yellow. Like when I say yellow to the core. And we keep saying, oh, she's like, she looks like my grandmother. She looks like my. And we all just accepted that yes, she always looked like. But now that with this all new revelation, I'm thinking to myself, hey, Abi, could it be?
No. Okay. Should I bust your brain? Do you know that when they say Agbo Mojo Lomo Mojoe, if you train a child that was birthed by me, that child is going to look like you and act like you. The worst thing that will happen, which happens, is when the child talks. If you see that my voice, you will say, your voice sounds fine. That's all. The child will probably look like you and act like your mannerisms and all that. So you can train a child up to the age of 30, even 35, and be close to that child and everything, and not know that it's your brother's child or your neighbor's child, or fortunately, in most cases now, your pastor's child. Sorry. Is that the genesis of our discussion?
Please, it's all you be shocking her when she's talking.
Sorry, the truth. Don't mind them.
Because I don't understand why you brought me. You bring me here once a year, and that once a year you will not allow me to talk.
Don't bring pastor into this. Let's focus on the issue of paternity.
I said in most cases, Morayo, in our area, in most cases.
You're right.
In most cases, your child belongs to, because you will go and tell him you have problems having kids, and then the man will encourage you to keep praying and fasting. That's what he will tell you. And then one day your wife will tell you that she has gone for a program where people came for
night back
testimonies, and then you will say, okay, since I'm not available, go. and they go to Orioke. 3 months later, your wife is pregnant. And then from then on, every year, she puts to bed. And it's like, oh, your fountain has opened. My brother, no. And then let me, do you want me to just blow you?
Don't blow.
Yes, I want.
One step at a time.
Blow us away.
Why can't they won't allow me?
Blow us away.
You may.
Wait.
There's a place for gene mutation. So, like in my family, we have albinos from the generation. So if anybody in this generation gives birth to an albino, we can easily tie it and connect. So there's a place for that. But there's also, I also would not agree that DNA testing should be compulsory, especially at the time of birth, because it becomes unfair to one gender.
Yeah.
We've had women who have raised other people's children, and the men do it like it's a man's world. They just do it blatantly, show it, and nothing happens. If you are not ready for that relationship or that marriage, you can step aside and somebody else will come in and take your place. But now when you make it compulsory for the woman, that's you assuming that it's only the woman that does that kind of thing. We know that in marriage, if trust is not there, it could go both ways.
Okay, so can we just make paternity tests part of our culture? We'll talk about that after the break. Stay with us to break back.
You said no.
Stay tuned. Your view will be right back.
Staying with us. So, still on this issue of paternity, Mariam, I would like to hear your initial thoughts on this story.
For me, my initial thought is, if for any reason my husband has any iota of doubt about the paternity of our children, I will take him to go and do with our children to go and do a DNA test, because I would not for any reason want, that cloud of doubt about who the father of my children is. But we'll do it without the children knowing that their father has a lack of faith or trust, in their mother and their wife.
For the test?
I have no issues. I have issues, but if he dares to bring it up, if it's even a fleeting thought, I will make sure I do that. Then we have that settled. Once we have that settled, then we can talk about why you even had that thought in the first place. So is it that there's a particular child that you are not bonding with, or is it that there's something in this child that you don't think is yours, but now DNA has proven is yours, right? Then also, if it's about cheating, paternity test does not determine if you were not cheating. Do you understand? Because you can be cheating and still have the children for your husband. So what would be the reason why I will mandate paternity tests on my children as I have
You want to
the
take
children?
responsibility for somebody else's child, possibly. But therefore, the question I'd like to ask is, should we, because taking the paternity test here is still something that is not totally very, we're not used to doing it in this side of town. So the question therefore is that, should we make it such a regular thing, like going to check for malaria?
I don't think so. I think it's disrespectful.
Like where everybody knows, okay, listen, she's pregnant, okay, you want to do paternity test. Should we make it a regular culture for us?
I disagree with you when you say in this side of the world. Our brothers, where anywhere you go, asking for a paternity test shows distrust. Anywhere. If you're saying people don't really do it, it's because it's quite expensive. Some people is between 180, 200, some hospitals 150. Do you understand? I have a friend who was taking care of this girl that he got pregnant, running, up and down. And then months later, the girl started acting up, and he told me some things, and I said to him, I congratulated you when this girl got pregnant, so I'm going to tell you something, if you don't mind. And I said, are you sure the child is yours? And he looked at me and said, Princess, are you all right? I said, okay, don't be angry. He called me the following week and said, the child is not his. Whoa. He even offered, hello, when he go.
How did you spot that?
Because it's simple. Wait now, this lady, your girlfriend, all of a sudden becomes extremely demanding. You know how much they give her money now she's asking for triple the money. She's giving you some kind of, what do they, ultimatums and all that. And then I got to a point.
What happened with my manager now?
Which manager? Which
manager?
He had been looking after the child. God, I'm not even saying it again.
You see now. Now, in the case, you don't want us to say, but me, I will say. The thing is...
No, because of maybe the child is watching.
Okay, so let me say it this way. Even this story that you were talking about, if you read it very well and you listen to what maybe people that know them said, they said the man was expecting a child with another person that is engaged to, meaning at least he has moved on to a level. I'm sorry to say.
He has moved on.
So because Now, somebody say it might be the shock. I said, okay, well, however, but for me, it's because we pretend and we lie a lot.
Yes.
Okay.
Because when some things happen,
Right.
remember when we were young, when you go somewhere, immediately you do something, your mom's friend will say,
Yeah.
They don't waste time. But now, you know yourself.
Take it in.
You see your kids acting strange. And then when somebody says, oh, Mariah, no, please, oh, that's the way I brought them up. Can you call? And somebody will call you and say, Mariah, I knew you since when you were in primary school. You didn't have a, no. You keep quiet. Shebi, they change people. We are talking of DNA. What of those people who have twins and people switch because they wanted a boy and you had 2 boys and they switched? So did the woman cheat? No. Some people were sold at birth until tomorrow they will never know their parents. Now you've seen those baby factories that we used to talk about years ago. See now they're everywhere. Almost every estate.
Okay, so
are you going to blame a woman whose child was switched at birth? Because you
but people would say to you that in DNA testing, they would also check if the mother, if you are the mother of the child.
That is if you
ask. Show.
Yeah, but you'd have to. If you put to bed, I don't think the first thing you'll be asking for is a DNA test.
But guys, a reputable DNA company hospital will ask for the mother as well.
Yeah.
Okay,
because sometimes it comes out that neither the mother nor the father are the parents. So they were switched at birth, so they have to go back to the hospital
to investigate.
If they switch one of your twins to a girl, if you have 2 boys and they switch and they give you a girl and a boy, and they run a DNA test later in life, your husband will just see that the girl is not his. He won't think that they are supposed to be twins. They could have switched. This thing won't be smooth. If he's a Yoruba man, he's going to get married the next month.
The point I want to bring. Let me jump in here for a second.
You know, one of the reasons I didn't want to talk about this issue was because the issue where we knew when this matter broke, and it was 3 years ago. It was deliberated. It was a heated argument in my sitting room, and everything that's happening now is just hearing from people who just felt aggrieved. Between both parties, they knew something was going on because there was a steady progression of how the thing kept moving and moving. You could see that this person was a part of the family, and they knew. It was not new. Nobody had to die or faint because of what they heard. They knew, and they wanted to manage it because of love. The man was really in love. But aside from that, I would want us to not just focus on doing the DNA. I want women or men to think deeply and ask themselves, do I really need to be mixing children? If I get pregnant for somebody else, can't I just own up and give the person?
If you're a married woman, do you know you have 60% of married people now cheat. Most people that cheat now are married. Married men are married women.
Hold on.
You know what?
So are you going to tell your husband, honey, I'm sorry, I'm pregnant, so boys for my neighbor. I'll get pregnant for you next day.
Let me throw this in. Busy waiting. Let me throw this in. Okay. Because we're talking about paternity tests.
Yeah.
But the truth is, if you find out that the children your wife gave birth to aren't yours, can't you simply just accept it? For the sake, listen. For the sake of the children, because now you're not focusing on myself or my image. You're focusing on the children, raising kids, regardless of who the father. Listen now. So shouldn't we focus on saying the fact that, look, yes, you goofed.
Yeah.
However, my dear, I have raised these children from birth. They are my children, even though it's not biological, but I'll raise them and keep it.
Just the same way the woman accepts you.
There's a percentage for those who keep data. They will tell you that there's a huge percentage of women who did not deliberately do it. So you're in between relationships, then you get married. You come in there really honestly thinking that this child is your husband's child, but it just happened there was a relationship.
The child is looking like your
let's say before he starts looking like your ex, maybe before you even start, maybe before you let's even say before you start noticing. So there's that situation where you now, between husband and wife, you now realize this is what has happened. I did not deliberately come out to deceive you, but here's where I find myself. We have had this kind of discussions before, and I've always stood by, put the children's interest first. But I think it will take time. I do not expect that a man finds out today and the next day he's willing to just accept. It will take time.
If you find out your husband impregnated someone else outside, your family will give you 1 week to vacate the house.
To adapt.
If you don't adapt, they will come and tell you, why are you being wicked? You have your own kids. Do you want your husband to abandon the kids? Do you want him to send them away? That's what they will tell you. Now, I'm not supporting the man or the woman. I'm saying if it's okay for you to come and say, Princess, I'm sorry, I goofed. You know, Mariah just had a baby for me. please, can we take care of it? And I said, okay, I'm not happy, but I'll find it in my heart. Okay, my brother, if I also tell you that please, I goofed just that one night that you were not around,
society issue.
Let me break it down for you, I beg. Women and men we are different. Whether you like it or not, men and women are different. What a woman can take, a man can never take. Let me tell you, if you cheat on a man, the way it will affect you as a woman if your husband cheats on you, and the way it will affect a man if he has your cheating, is totally different. A man might never recover. I'm just telling you that psychologically, physically,
No. Let's go and break.
Learn how to recover. We give him the pill.
Is that superhuman? We make us that put some.
We learn.
Let me land.
Yes.
Let me land. Women are stronger. Yes, emotionally.
That's why I started with
emotionally than men.
Okay, let me go and break.
Men are stronger physically, but emotionally, women are stronger. So,
women
please,
just have a lot more to lose.
Let me go and break. We'll come back. We'll continue the conversation after the break. Everybody, pause. Please drink your tea.
Stay tuned. Your View will be right back.
Thanks for staying with us. All right. So before the break, Waike was trying to make a point concerning the fact that women are more emotionally
stronger emotionally than men.
Okay.
That is why when a man discovers his wife is cheating, it takes him years to recover. Now, the same man, because it affects their psyche, it affects they now think, oh, I'm not good in bed, I'm this, so there are many things. I've seen it happen to too many men. I've seen it happen. Now, when the man has now been bringing up a child that he believes is his own, and then he discovers that child is not his own, let me tell you, he will go through many different
emotional breakdown, emotional turbulence.
Yes, turbulence, and then different. First one is depression. Second one is he wants to commit suicide. So he will have many. That one is rejection. He will reject the child.
Okay, let me
now. If a man, after rejecting, then now decides, okay, I've been looking after this child for so many years, and I want to continue. Pick up child now. If he discovers that man is not his father, have you thought about the different people that this thing is affecting? That you are saying, oh, God forgive. The child don't come.
Okay, that's another angle.
Yeah, so may I join what she just said now? So, having like a blanket solution to, you've raised these children, just love them because you don't want to start, digging deep. You don't want to start getting a lot of people involved. It has to do with the type of situation you find yourself. Now, some women would get pregnant and the man who owns the baby is not aware. So you can decide in that case, let's not even get him involved. He doesn't know that he's the one that got you pregnant. We can handle it. But whereby the man in question is aware that somebody's wife is carrying his pregnancy, even if he doesn't talk immediately, a few years down the line, he will come back for his children. Now, if you have accepted those children as yours, what do you do when he comes back for the children? So it depends on the kind of situation you find.
I just wanted to respond to Waike where she says men are more, it's harder for them. I don't think that men are any less capable of handling situations like this than women.
You are young now. You don't have experience.
I feel that what society and culture has done is has sort of provided almost like a cushion for the woman. So you find yourself in a situation where a man has brought home children for you. You have women who will surround you and say, after all, it has happened to this person. This is how to handle it. And constantly you hear voices that say, men and women are watching this show. Hear voices that say there's this superpower that a woman has that the man does not have. So all of a sudden he's feeling a bit confident. I don't mean to do it, but I'm a man and that is how I do it. The truth is that as it hurts a man, so it hurts the woman. Maybe what will happen is that men now will need to have conversations around men who will sit with them and say, uncle, it's not that hard. Brace up. Brace up. You can handle this. It happened to this other man. Maybe then they will learn it. They have to learn. I'm not encouraging. Let me just finish. I'm not encouraging bringing children into homes. But to say that women have more power to endure, I don't agree. We both feel the pain equally.
Miriam, if your husband brings a child that is not yours into the house, you have the option to leave the marriage or take it.
Yes.
It is not by force. There is no hard and fast rule that says if your husband brings a child that is not yours into the house, that you have to stay. No,
but culture suggests that you should stay.
Patriarchy
suggests that you should stay.
Culture can suggest, but you as a woman can decide that let me talk like you. I don't want and get out. It is. I'm just saying.
Yes.
Okay, let Princess jump in here for a second.
So I'm not saying, and I'm not saying that women must take it.
Yeah.
I am saying emotionally, women are stronger.
Okay, point taken. Princess, what are your thoughts on this?
I support YK. You know when I started, I said when it comes to emotions, even intelligence, women are way up there. Men are stronger.
They ate the fruit first.
Men are stronger. You know, so I'm not saying they should take it, which is not. I'm just saying women are stronger. You understand? Okay. But a man who chased his wife out and said she only had one child, after 8 years, no other child, and then the mom says, take another wife. And he says, well, it's not going to be a problem because, I have 2 ladies I'm seeing. And 2 of them have 2 kids for me. So I will just take the one that is, more mature. My wife can't just hold me down,
But there's
wait now and brings the children in and something happens. And then the guy finds out that he can't even sign a child.
Not perform.
Or the 2 ladies outside who can't get the pikin.
Other people.
And that first one we did your house now, when he finds out, he will gently, and that's why I think, and I keep saying it, they support the men more. You give them that room. He will say, my sister, I have now found out that the problem is me. You can't stay. That is it now. Because if a lot of marriages that ended up and people went out and got pregnant 6 months later, it shocked people. Say, my brother, that your wife when they beat twins in 2 years.
Princess.
Now, when you find out as a man, you can't even sire a child. And those bragging you were bragging that you are there in my house, you are eating, you don't have kids. When I was secondary school, somebody had a child for me last week. You now find out that those people that had those children, you will now call Princess back, my sister.
Okay, but guys, let's bring this back to a different perspective. Okay, so all this has happened, right? And YK said something that the child grows up knowing that, okay, my parents or my father is not who I thought is my real biological father. But we also know that nothing is about the meaning you give to it. If you define it as, okay, you were raised by somebody who you thought was your father, but is not, big deal. He raised you. Hang in there. He raised you.
Right?
Listen. He raised you, he took care of you, he fathered you, and he's supporting you to where you are now. Shouldn't that supersede the biological factor? So the point I'm trying to make, therefore, is that we define this whole thing as, it's scandalous. This happened. But if you don't define it as a scandal, and you define that, that's how God created it, it's scandal, that's how God has created it. Me, I came through rape. Let me finish my point.
I need to ask that question.
Listen, let me finish. I came through rape. I came through, they stole me, I was kidnapped. However you found yourself, that's my story. I am here today. So should we redefine how we see this? Because we are the ones making it look like it's scandalous and making the child feel that they are...
how old is the child? If the child is a teenager, you have finished that child. The child will never be himself. Except he's a fully grown up.
You are the one that will define that child to finish.
You cannot control somebody's narrative as how you brought them and control the way they... A child that is 13 years old and a woman that is 30, you come and say, oh, this person is not your father. They will take it differently. If you tell that teenager, you will...
Well, I know, I will not say who it is, but I will tell you after the show who it is. I know somebody who was brought up by somebody who we thought was his father.
Okay.
When he was 13, they came and said, that's not your father, this is your father. The guy tried to commit suicide.
That's a teenager.
The boy in secondary school. Wait.
Why did he commit suicide?
Excuse me.
Is it not because society is defined to him?
Society.
Which society?
He has his brain.
No, that's
he tried to commit suicide, and I tell you, till he died, it was not normal.
That is it.
And he didn't commit suicide. In fact, maybe he even committed. The way he died, maybe he even committed suicide.
Why? If he was,
excuse me, let me finish. The guy, I will tell you who it is after this show. Till he died was not normal. Because he had that thing in his head that man that he thought was his father, and now this man that is
let me respond to you. Made your point.
No, I want to ask you now a direct question.
Let me
respond. If you wake up tomorrow and they tell you that Akaba Soro is not your father, do you think that you will come on the show the next day?
Absolutely. Let me tell you.
Let me respond. No, absolutely
yes or
not.
no.
If they tell me that my father is not my father, I will never kill myself.
And you're an adult already.
I'm an adult.
Wait.
What are you saying?
Let me respond. And in discovering it, I get the societal support that it's okay. Listen, Angela, you're not the only one that this has happened to. We are here for you. It doesn't make you different from who you've become. And I get that societal support. I might heal. So the person who commits suicide is possible because society, everybody around him say, listen, I'm almost done. So that person that is emotionally broken is because society around him. Because if he lives in a different country, there's a possibility that he will survive that news. In a country that supports you, where they have a system that shows that we are still a human being, regardless of your experience.
As an example,
yes.
Please. When my marriage ended, it ended in 2 weeks. I nearly died. I had support from people who loved me, who kept on telling me, you are not the first person it will happen to. I couldn't connect. Then it happened to Funke, and then it happened to Tiwa. Look at the three of us. They came out on top. Funke called me, spoke to me, and tried to jolt me back into reality. That princess, wake up. I didn't. I went down and I nearly lost my life. Tiwa stood, she struggled, there was not much support. Everybody was bashing her for going for an interview, but she came out on top. But look at Princess, I remained down. Let me tell you one thing. A below man pie in your back or not, or a kindle in your back or not. If you tell, it means that we can get hungry now and decide we want to eat and we order for the same thing. But if something happens here right now that affects our emotions, we are going to react differently. Morayo, a 13-year-old child will react differently to a 30-year-old, even to a 40. Now you are saying it is sweet. If this thing was said to you on your wedding day when your father was seated and somebody came in and said, oh, happy wedding, please, that's my daughter, let me have her. You think you'll be speaking of this English, that if society speaks mental home.
I reject it in Jesus' name.
Let me help buttress people's point. Because I agree 100%.
Buttress.
Yes. Now, one of the reasons.
Why are you buttressing? Thank you.
One of the reasons that there's what they call family secrets. And the fact that a parent's job is to protect the child's innocence for as long as they can. Because as children are growing, they are developing at different stages. So there are certain information that you cannot give to them at certain ages.
Right.
When they become adults, even in those sort of information, there's a way you handle it depending on the person's personality. So that's why you don't just feel, okay, it doesn't matter. Now, this Mr. A, born you. Just sit down there. We are taking care of you. You'll be all right. You don't pass it on to children. That's why families have secrets that over the years they break down gradually in order to protect the sanity of their children and family members. So it will be unfair to just assume that, well, it has happened. We took care of you. Just let's support you.
Let me let Mariam jump in here. Go ahead, please.
Okay, so for me, I always used to say when we have conversations like this that the parents should just, handle it and leave the children out of this and maintain their innocence. But, over time, I'm beginning to believe that it's best to let the child know. And because it's better for you to be the one to let the child know. Because it happens many times. The child will go outside one day and somebody will just throw it at the child. And then where is the plan of keeping that child's innocence until you're assuming that you're the person that's going to be in all of his environment all of the time, and it's not going to be that way. So, but also I think as a society, we need to have better conversations about how to have these conversations with children that find themselves in this position, or parents that find themselves in this position, where we build each other. I agree with you. There are different kinds of people and there are different kinds of reaction, but no matter how much you, giving your story, no matter how much you think you have lost, I'm sure you are grateful for those two ladies that stood by you, and there must have been some strength and some positive that came from that. And that's what we're asking. Do not ostracize a child. Do not call the child a bastard. Do not be quick to point at the child. Be instead like a hedge, of protection around that child, and help that child build up, psychologically. Unfortunately, like in the case that YK brought, who knows what sort of, like how I would say, gory, like they're trying to humiliate the person, like they're trying to mock you.
Right.
So those are the sort of things that can push you to do things that you can hurt yourself. If we have conversations on TV like this and we're saying to people, when a child finds themselves in this situation, please, the outsider, it's not your job to be calling any child a bastard or calling them out. Let the family handle that and help build that child's confidence in accepting who his father that nurtured him is and who his biological father is.
I don't think emotionally and psychologically, there's no support. Like I said, I had a lot of support. There's no support that people would give you. It can't get inside where the problem is. I know. No, I've been depressed. I've been almost suicidal. I'm telling you, everything seems bleak. Everything that you think, the princess you think you see, I don't see that person.
Wow.
I look at myself and I see 100% failure. First time I stepped out of my house and I saw the sun, I cringed. It's not as if I didn't have support. No, that's what I'm saying. Don't assume that because your friend is going through a lot and you're supporting emotionally, you're talking to them, YK, am I on point? That it has gotten to that place.
But do you think
something is broken already?
Yeah, but do you think that is a product of the society you find yourself in?
It's not society. That's what I'm saying. That whatever society does is not going to fit that broken thing.
Right. You don't understand. The question I want to ask Princess is, how else would they have helped you?
First things first is I needed people
so to... you slap that your husband to sense it?
No, I mean, you see when people come, when you lose someone and people say, oh, sorry, they always go home at night. Yeah. But it's impossible when you're in that situation for people to be with you 24/7. Yeah. But if you have somebody, I had somebody who did not have the time to see me physically, but because I had people coming around all the time to even make sure I had my bath, I didn't get up from the floor. And the person would call me like in the midnight because the person knew that because before this problem I had insomnia. So immediately this problem happened and I even lost the child and I developed BP. They knew that cut her to death. There was a time TA called me, 100 missed calls, I didn't pick. If I was dead because I told somebody that more logo. I said it in Yoruba. So the TA felt I took something. And the person would call in the dead of the night. I said, Princess, what's up? I know you're crying. Please carry on. Kill yourself. If you die now, blah, blah. And I would try, but nobody could get through. And it went on for years. Morayo. So and I'm an adult. I got married when I was 33. What finally happened was, one day, my niece was going to school, and she looked at me and said, I know when I step out, you will continue crying. But I want you to know one thing for a fact. If everybody leaves you, I will not leave you. And she was 7. And I felt, Princess, is it not enough? Is this child supposed to be taking care of you? Why so? Because I was done. I was ready to die. I will pray to God that, God, why can't I be going and somebody will just jam me and grind me to the floor? Why?
Okay, I'll come.
So don't say that. Let me
pause you for a second.
When you give somebody that kind of news, something breaks.
Okay, let me pause you.
I think apart from talking to the person, maybe a lot of prayer.
BC is a life
because that thing that breaks, nobody can.
Let me see if BC can help us in this situation because I have a question for you. But let me take
the joys of childhood is to be in a loving relationship between the mother and the father. And I remember when my children wake up and mommy and daddy are at home, the joy, they are excited. And that is what they grow with. Now, when you break such a news to a child, it breaks the trust that child has for you. And it will affect, academically, that child will suffer. When you tell the child, go and read your books, he will look at you and say, is it not you that cheated?
That's the default. And it's worse with teenagers because
what
at that
happens?
time, their brain is still developing. So it's still very important to see the information will definitely come out.
Exactly.
If it comes out from the public and the child comes to tell you, you tell the child that there are certain conversations I'm going to have with you when it's time for you to understand. Do not force me to have this conversation now.
Really?
The truth is, when you have it at the time they are not ready for it, when you have it at the time that they are children,
Really?
you are going, honestly, you are going to mess up their life completely. Every aspect of life.
Do you guys understand the perspective I'm coming from? I don't think I'm getting through. Because I feel that we are all a product of the society we find ourselves in.
Yes, we
I'm
get
thinking
that.
you're a Chinese man, you're an Indian, you're an American, you're British, for example, and you're in different societies. And this kind of news comes to you. The society you find yourself gives you that, because we are in a patriarchal society.
Yeah.
There are others that are the matriarchal society, where the woman has all that systemic support.
Yeah.
So you won't respond to, because the reason why you're so broken, because you live in a country where she's a celebrity. She got married. Yeah, she's 2 weeks. She's broken. The divorce.
Where your worth comes from.
Your worth comes from that societal validation. That's our society.
No, when it comes to DNA, when it comes to paternity, it's personal.
It's personal.
Somebody said my father is not my father. I'm not going to
That one cuts across all cultures.
Morayo, if they born you in London,
in India,
Jamaica,
Australia,
Alaska, anywhere, and you discover that the man that you have been calling father
It's not your father.
is not your father.
To break you down.
What are you talking about?
No matter who is your psychological support.
I don't even know.
As a human being, whether you are Japanese,
Something
Chinese,
breaks.
Indian, African,
It will break you down.
It will
But let's
break you.
not say
Hear me. It will break you.
which society?
But you will survive.
Everybody survives. One way or the other.
People are surviving. People are surviving.
Yeah.
But people are
Some
surviving.
people don't survive.
Yes.
That's why you
understand.
see men, some men. I have
Some
a friend
people are-
who has a new girlfriend every other month.
To take tweets.
And he's married.
Some people
And we are blaming
some people
everyone.
are surviving Kolo.
Because he grew up with
Wait,
distrust.
I can't hear anybody. Guys,
You can't hear anybody.
Twitter, please, we need to take tweets.
Take
We
Twitter.
said
So
enough.
we
have
take
to-
Twitter.
I drove from my house
Kolo.
early, Momo. Take Twitter.
And people die from Kolo.
Yes.
The same Kolo that is killing people,
Yes.
some people are getting it. Wait, check the body like this,
Yes.
waka. It's the same thing.
Okay.
That is it.
So
Let's
people-
take a few tweets.
I can discover that my father is not my father, and I will survive it.
Yeah.
Another person will discover his father is not his father,
Right.
and he will not survive it.
All right. Let's take about.
Personalities,
And
Everybody's
some
reaction is
survive and it
different.
goes
Let's
ahead to
take
affect their
tweets.
adult life.
Unfortunately-
they become very untrusting.
Unfortunately, our phone lines are down, so we need to take tweets. Let's take a
Mr.
few.
Adebayo says men are vulnerable in such situation as what you are discussing today. Princess is a realist. She says it as the way it is in real life. No matter how well we want to paint things, men and women are emotionally different and can act differently. Biliki says the spiritual connection to where you are from, your roots, is the reason the black world are tracing back their roots. It leaves a vacuum. Even if someone is an orphan, let them know where they came from. Don't take that away from them. Adebayo also says, truly, women are more emotionally stable than men, except we want to deny the fact of nature. It's very difficult to take as a man. Societal pressures, emotional breakdown, and lack of support are a few of the contributory factors that wreck one.
Michael says, I don't think any gender is particularly emotionally stronger than the other. I rather think it's more about what the emotion has been used to over time and determines the strength. E.g., ladies are more used to cheating husbands than men are with cheating wives. Olufisayo says, like Atieni Kuti said, there is a wide gap between man and woman psychologically and emotionally, as well as body anatomy. Men's is zeal, and men's personality is zeal, and mostly doesn't get fluid from woman. No, that's
Let me take Eleni Toba.
PJ comedian.
Okay, go ahead, YK.
Okay, you want to read something?
Yes. Eleni Toba says, we can't take away society and culture from our situation. We're born in it and we're indoctrinated in it. You never can say what you will do in any situation till you are in it.
Exactly.
It's best every father knows about his child, and say for the mothers, it brings sanity to our society. Yes, Mariam.
Okay, so we have Chisom Paula Ogamba says, every human is born blank, and the way you process divorce is based on the input from the society and your environment throughout your life leading up to that point. So your society has something to do with it.
I just want to say something. Sorry, Miriam. Please, if you are a woman and you are not in doubt as to who the father of your child is, go and find out.
Yeah, you should.
For the sake of the child. Forget about the man if you like. For the sake of the child, go and find out and be honest.
Okay.
Don't let a child grow up and then find out
Later.
On
that note, we'll wrap up on this, but we have to talk with Princess about her project. But thank you very much for helping us round up Ike. But Princess, I know you have a project you're working on. It's important that we let Nigerians know what your new movie.
My new movie, Body Bag.
Hey!
Yes. It's on YouTube already.
Okay.
You know, and it's my true life story.
Body Bag.
Yes.
Body Bag. Let me write it down.
So I was discussing with some friends about my experiences, and then we decided maybe we should put it in a movie, let people see, and then also as well, you saw they were online.
Yes.
People send me like marriage proposals or they want to date me. When you meet them, say, well, I come out will pay. You don't, like say you don't finish. Anyway, so I figured a lot of marriages that have issues, everybody has a say. It can be 90-10 or 50-50, but nobody is completely innocent. So I decided, okay, fine. Let me put it out there. Let people see the ugly side of Princess, the things you don't know about me that went on with my relationship with my ex. Because a lot will tell me, when you talk about your ex, you are not bitter. You're supposed to always curse him out. I'm like, why should I? Because I'm not healed though. How did I heal? Is it not 7 years ago? Shouldn't I be? I'm not healed, but I found it made me to find out some things about myself that I didn't even know I was doing wrong. For instance, I didn't know until I became an adult that when you go out with a man, you're not supposed to be the one saying, I'll pick up the bills, I'll do this. I mean, I just do it. You know that? The same way I would do with you. And then the man will look like, oh, I pay this guy get touched. You know? So a lot of things I didn't know. Wow.
What feedback have you gotten so far?
So far, everybody, 80% of people that have seen it said to me, Princess, you need to do a part 2 of this movie. Because unfortunately, there was someone in there. It's a true life story of a few of my friends as well. But one didn't end well in the movie. They wanted to see what happened. Now, I've spoken to my other friends that we use their stories. I said, people want a part 2. I didn't plan. And they were like, because our stories are ongoing. So, is it that we pick from some, but I also didn't want to do something like people say, why are they doing part 2? But 80%. But a lot of people have told me that if you want to get married or you are in a serious relationship, even if you are not planning marriage, you need to watch Body Bag. It's on YouTube. It's my movie. So if you watch it and you don't like it, you can send me a DM, tell me what you feel, insult me if you like. I mean, I've already gone past
it's a good learning. It's a good learning.
A lot of everybody that has seen it has said the same. You can watch it with your kids. So everybody has said the same thing. If you're going into marriage or you've been in a marriage and you feel maybe you didn't do well or your partner didn't do well, you need to watch the movie. Because there are so many things you don't see.
Do you take the blame for your marriage?
Yes, I take the blame for the failure because it shouldn't have happened. I was stupid, plain and simple.
The marriage shouldn't have happened in the first place.
Yes, so that's why I take the blame.
Oh, okay.
It shouldn't have.
That it was right for him to do what he did to you.
Yeah, it wasn't right. But the thing is, when you're going into something, when you're blinded. Now I've seen that. You know, I'm a romantic. Love is not enough. Somebody,
I've been saying that for years.
Counselor said to us, no red flag. Counselor said, it is better to have a broken engagement than a broken marriage. And, you know, automatically I said, we've given out IVs. I don't understand.
Wow.
How are we going to do that? But I'll tell you, when it happened, the first thought that came to my head was, we should have just cancelled. Since that day was my birthday, we should have just...
I want to ask a question. See, there's something about your personality. It's like, this girl, I don't tear. She knows what's up. So you expect that there are some things that don't happen to people like you.
Good. Now, that's another mistake. My ex thought, this girl, I don't tear. She knows what's up.
Yeah.
Blah, blah. And when he married me, he found out that the tearing that my eyes
your backs are worse than your backs.
Most of the experiences I have are from people who are close to me. If I talk about rape, like when I talked about police, my mom will call me, it's not like I had that personal. But if my neighbor, if Morayo has an experience, I will not wait for me to experience it. I will go deep. I'm like that. I will take it in as a sponge. So he found out that maybe I wasn't as, how do I say it, out there as I, you know,
as you looked.
No fashion sense. You saw that at least today they helped me. He was one who made me to start wearing gown. He did a lot of things for me that I didn't even know consciously I was doing wrong. My mom, since when I was young, would tell me, only problem. If you come to my house, there's a place you have to put your shoes, and then when you step in, there's a particular slippers you wear, and then when you want to step into, so some things that I told you that day, Mariah was shocked. So you need to watch Body Bag. It's on YouTube. Why I want you to watch it is not. I mean, if more people watch it, I'll probably make money, and I'll, you know, maybe try and do part two. But bottom line is, if you have been married and you've been sitting because somebody advised me then, do not sit. Try and get into it. I said, no, you don't get into a relationship. As a Yoruba girl, you have to sit down and think. I'm still thinking 7 years down, like, you don't do that. So don't allow, please, my advice to everyone, when you face any challenge in life, especially in these tough times, please do not be like Princess. Be like Tiwa or Funke Akinde. Let me tell you, whatever happens to you, as long as you are alive, Bagbe, something better is in front. Don't sit down.
I think on that note, we can end the show. Princess, it's such a pleasure having you.
Always
we love it. One and a half hours.
Well, let's be starting it.
Thank you so much. All right, guys. I hope you learned a few things as we have. Thanks for joining us. We'll see you tomorrow. Bye for now.